Ministry of Agriculture, through the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, has pulled off another successful first. The first ever Honey Fest, an exposition that showcased honey in all of its forms and uses and brought together all stakeholders in one compound. Banking and other financial institutions, agro-processors, beekeepers, the GLDA, the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, the Bureau of Standards, and the new Food Safety Authority were all on hand for the grand event held Friday at the compound of the GLDA at Monrepo, East Coast, Demerara. The event attracted a large attendance by members of the general public who were there checking out the booths and making purchases of the various brands of honey and honey products. Speaking during the formal aspect of the day's activities, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa stressed government's recognition of the vast potential for growth that exists within the local apiculture sector, assuring that government has already started the investments that will realize massive growth of the sector over the coming years.
All the time we were talking about the apiculture industry in our country. Everyone was saying about the potential of this industry, that this industry has great potential. And long decades ago, we heard those conversations that the apiculture industry has great potential. But there was no one there to harness that potential. We normally up to 2023. Guyana produces just over 2,000 gallons of honey for the entire year. Although we recognize, and although it was recognized, that we have that potential. But this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, as your Minister of Agriculture, I want to tell you that we have a visionary in our country. We have a person who is so passionate about food security. A person who has taken over the mantle of leadership in our country just over 4 years ago. And today, we are not only seeing the traditional sectors and the traditional areas in the agriculture sector blooming, but we are seeing new industry, new sector emerging. And this is one of the sectors, the apiculture sector. Although we would have had people producing honey a long time ago, but today we have seen that this sector is taking off. Why? It didn't just come on the stream and everybody, or those who have gone into the apiculture industry say that we're going to do honey and rear bees. But because of the support, because of the investment government has been making in this industry, we want Guyana to be a major honey producing country. We want Guyana, as first of all, we heard last year's production was just over 2,000 gallons. At the end of 2024, to date, I understand through GLDA that production have already reached the 18,000 gallon mark. I am hoping by the end of the year, we will increase that. Imagine from 2,000 gallons in 2023 to 18,000 gallons by the end of October 2024, 10 months. 10 months we can able to produce 18,000 gallons. Why? Because of the investment. Last year, we would have invested over $200 million in the apiculture industry. You heard the Director General alluded to the fact that we have specialists from Cuba who are working with their Guyanese counterpart to improve and train people in apiculture in our country. We have targeted a number of areas in our country to ensure that, first of all, we create economic benefit for people living in those communities, and the most important, that we produce honey of a high standard.
According to Minister Mustafa, Guyana's vast landmass, its coastal and riverine mangroves provide opportunity for expansion of the sector and the involvement of new beekeepers. It is with this in mind that government has invested in hives for distribution at no cost to those receiving them.
And with Guyana vast land space, with Guyana vast vegetation, and we can have different types of honey. You all will know that, the specialists will know that more than me. If you have apiary and you have hives in the mangrove, you'll have a better quality of honey than you have in the other vegetation in our country. And we have long stretch of mangrove in our country. Whilst we are doing that, over 5,000 hives were distributed to potential honey producers across this country. Today we are seeing more women being involved in honey production. We are seeing a lot of young people gravitating to this industry. As I'm speaking now, only last Monday, I was going through our budget for 2024, and we still have some items to purchase, protective gears, so that we will distribute that to people across this country. Those are the type of investment. And today in the agriculture sector, we are seeing a revolution take.
The Agriculture Minister noted that the growth in the apiculture industry is part of a general transformation in agriculture, not only a transformation, but an expansion in the range of crops being cultivated, inclusive of new crops, livestock, etc.
We are seeing a revolution taking place. We are seeing new crops. We are seeing new sector emerging. The GLDA that normally responsible for only livestock, they are now broadening and spreading their wings to other areas. Apiculture is one. We are starting new type and variety of animal we are bringing into the country. Better breed of animal. Those are the things. And for the first time in the history of our country, last year we started to produce our own hatching eggs. Last year we produced 27,000 hatching eggs. For the first half of this year, we have produced 94,000 hatching eggs. And we are looking by the end of 2026, early 2027, that Guyana will produce all its hatching eggs need. All our needs we will produce. And that will be good for the country, where we will save revenue, where we will reduce the food import bill, to make our contribution to the 25 by 2025 initiative. And you might want to know, or the youngsters here will want to know, that when I said that we produced 94,000 hatching eggs for the first half of this year, and we might produce another 94,000 by the end of December, you might want to know there's a lot of eggs. But Guyana we normally uses 53 million hatching eggs annually. That's the gap. And as I'm speaking now, funds have already been made available to GLDA in the sum of over $400 million. They are on the verge of importing these modern tunnel houses where we have the breeder program continue. Those are the kind of investment that we are talking about to make Guyana food secure. We are not doing things just because we want to do it on a formality basis. We want Guyana to be a food hub. We want Guyana to produce all the food. That is why, although we are producing 60% of the food that we are consuming, His Excellency the President said we must produce all. So we start to produce, or we started the production of hatching eggs. We start to increase our honey production. We have started the production and cultivation of corn and soya. By the end of 2025, by the end of next year, 2025, we are hoping to be self-sufficient in producing all our livestock feed from corn and soya being cultivated right here in Guyana.
By the end of 2025, Guyana will be self-sufficient in the production of corn and soya, earning savings of more than $40 million and realizing cheaper livestock feed here. Minister Mustafa said the revolution continues in the Tacoma savannas, where black-eyed peas and red beans are being cultivated in large commercial quantities, growth that is being fueled by government's investments in the necessary infrastructure there.
We are hoping by the mid-next year, by middle of 2025, we will produce all the black-eyed peas and red beans for our country. We have started production at Kimbia. We are now building the road. We are putting down modern silos there. And we have an investor who will start out with 1,000 acres of black-eyed peas. In the Tacoma Savannah, we have transformed barren land that people consider was not fertile. Today have thousands of acres of corn and soya being cultivated in the Tacoma Savannah. We have built hundreds of kilometers of roads. We have put down a modern 18,000 tons silo. We are now building a wharf at the Tacoma Savannah in the Berbice River. And now we are building a conveyor system that will transport the corn and soya on directly onto the ship. Those are the development, those are the investment that I am talking about. So we are going to new crops. And we want, as a matter of fact, we have a policy as a directive from His Excellency the President. We have a policy that every single project from the Ministry of Agriculture must include 35% women and youth. Women and youth, that's a directive, and that is what we are implementing. Right here at the back here, when I started out my presentation, I congratulate the young people, and I said that we are making inroads into the young people to bring them into agriculture, because young people today see agriculture as a menial job, a job for old people, a job for people who never went to school. We have to change that perception, and we are changing that perception. Right here at the back, we have modern shade houses. We have over 54 shade houses here at the back, cultivating high-value crops, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, lettuce. And it's been managed by the young people, the company that was formed by His Excellency the President, the Agriculture Innovation Entrepreneurship Program. All over the country today, we are seeing all across the Guyana, young people are getting themselves involved in agriculture. And that augurs well for us as a country, because the future for agriculture looks bright.
In giving assurance of government's commitment to growing the local apiculture industry, Minister Mustafa also called for an end to the production and sale of fake or adulterated honey, a global problem that is also a growing one here in Guyana.
So this afternoon, I want to congratulate all the exhibitors. I want to congratulate all the organizers. I want to tell them and assure them that investment, we will make tremendous investment in this industry. This is an industry that will create a lot of jobs, especially for single parents, female, young people. And it's an industry, a very lucrative industry, that we can earn a lot of revenue. You can earn a lot of revenue. And we will stop. Let us make that call today. Let us produce honey from the real hives and stop the production of fake honey coming to our country or producing in our country. So this afternoon, let me thank the organizer, let me thank the exhibitor, let me thank everyone who have been involved in organizing this Honey Fest. This is a beginning of good things to come.
Earlier, Director General of the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Madan Lal Ramraj, stressed that it is important to recognize the invaluable role that honeybee plays in our ecosystem. He said they go beyond producing honey. They support our agricultural system and ensure the abundance of crops that we rely on for food security. The formal proceedings at the inaugural Honey Fest was pleasantly punctuated by cultural performances by dance groups, singers, and spoken word artists, alongside a speed painter. 3 of the nation's veteran beekeepers, among the first in the business, were honored for their outstanding and dedicated service to the local apiculture industry. Minister Mustafa and team later toured the various booths showcasing the work of beekeepers, those in the value-added aspect of honey and honey byproducts.